Check, check, check. It's working. It's incredible how I have myself not done an MBA, even though it was my parents' dream to see me with a master's degree in my hand, yet I am here today at one of the top business schools in the country to deliver a TED Talk. So naturally, I was elated when I got your invitation, and I knew I had to break this news to that one person immediately. माँ, आपका बेटा गोवा जा रहा है. But to my surprise, she said, वैभव, टांगे तोड़ दूंगी तेरी, मना कर दे दोस्तों को. I said, माँ, दोस्तों के साथ नहीं जा रहा, मैं actually Goa Institute of Management जा रहा हूँ. And the moment I said it, I'm not even kidding, guys. I could see tears rolling down her cheeks. She walked towards me, hugged me tight. It was a really emotional moment for the both of us. Until she said, finally, मेरा बेटा भी MBA करने जा रहा है. I said, माँ, मैं actually वहाँ पे TED Talk देने जा रहा हूँ. And suddenly, she stops crying. Now I'm in this dilemma कि better क्या था? My ma crying or my ma not crying in this situation. While all this is going on in my head, suddenly she says, "Beta, idea. देख, उन्होंने तुझ में कुछ ना कुछ तो देखा ही होगा, तभी बुला रहे हैं ना. तो एक काम करियो, उनकी ना गुड बुक्स में रहियो, ताकि जैसे ही तेरी टॉक खत्म होए, तो उनसे जाके रिक्वेस्ट कर सके कि आप लोग ना मुझे यहाँ से कोई छोटी मोटी सी MBA करा दो." It's funny how, Punjabi parents think about MBA, job security, and how you will never get married without a master's degree in your hands. But you know what's funnier? It's the fact that they are always full of thoughts, suggestions, and so many ideas. While my mom gives me dozens of ideas every single day, most of which have never worked for me, there was that one idea she gave me out of the blue, one fine day, which completely changed my life in the blink of an eye. We'll talk about it soon, but it gave me a life lesson, It taught me how simple ideas can have a profound impact on our lives. Again, we'll talk about that idea very soon, but how about we start from the top? I was in 6th grade when one day our class teacher walks into the room and says, "बच्चों, आज ना पढ़ाने का मन नहीं है मेरा. Let's do an exercise. All of you will face the class one by one and tell us all what do you want to become when you grow up. Along with that, you also have to name that one person who inspires you the most in that particular industry or career path." While most of my classmates wanted to become astronauts, doctors, lawyers, and engineers, I was the odd one out. I stood up and said, "Ma'am, when I grow up, I want to become a shopkeeper." And everyone starts laughing. Beta, pin drop silence. Vaibhav, sabko batao who inspires you the most. Ma'am, my favorite shopkeeper is Mukesh Ambani. While back then I couldn't understand as to why everyone was hysterically laughing at me, it does tell you that my 11-year-old self was very much fascinated by the world of business. Right? अब जब मैं 8th class में आया, one day I was sitting in the living room with my dad and my ma walks in and says, "बेटा, वैभव, तेरी दीदी ना बड़ी upset है. उसके ना boards में सिर्फ 97% आए हैं. और उनका एडमिशन ना LSR में नहीं हो रहा, दिल्ली यूनिवर्सिटी में. बहुत मूड खराब है. और उसकी जो बेस्ट फ्रेंड है ना, उसके 85% आए हैं, फिर भी उसका एडमिशन हो गया." I said, "माँ, how is that possible?" "बेटा, तू जानता नहीं है, वो ना गाती बहुत अच्छा है. उसने ना एक्स्ट्रा करिकुलर एक्टिविटीज़ ECA कोटा से अप्लाई करा, जिसमें अगर तुम नाच या गा सकते हो ना, तो तुम्हारा किसी भी दिल्ली यूनिवर्सिटी कॉलेज में एडमिशन हो जाता है और तुम्हारे मार्क्स भी नहीं देखते वो." That's when my dad looks at me and says, "Vaibhav, बेटा, आइडिया, ये तो तेरे लिए परफेक्ट है. तू तो पढ़ाई में वैसे ही नालायक, चल गा के सुना. So I cleared my throat and sang my favorite song, मैं तेनू समझावा की, by Rahat Fateh Ali Khan ji. When I was done, I was waiting for a round of applause, but there was an awkward silence. And my dad looks at me and says, "Beta, life में ना पढ़ाई बहुत ज़रूरी है." But then my mom says, कोई नहीं यार, क्या हो गया, God gifted नहीं आवाज़ तो क्या हो गया, वैभव, I think you should learn to play a musical instrument, it's an acquired skill, चल तू गिटार बजाना सीख ले. I said, माँ गिटार तो बहुत कॉमन हो गया, कुछ और सजेस्ट करो ना. बेटा एक काम करना, तू ड्रम्स बजाना सीख, drummers are rare to find, बड़ा cool लगेगा. Little did I know that my mom's simple idea of wanting me to learn a musical instrument would someday completely change the trajectory of my life. In no time, I fell in love with music to an extent that I joined the music club of my school, and I also went on to become its president in my 12th grade. अब जब बोर्ड्स का रिजल्ट आया तो मेरे 94% आए, काफ़ी डिसअपॉइंटिंग. और मुझे दिल्ली यूनिवर्सिटी में एडमिशन चाहिए था, लेकिन आई एम श्योर यहाँ पे सबको पता होगा कि अगर ड्यू में एडमिशन चाहिए तो तुम्हारे कम से कम 101 या 102% तो आने चाहिए. बट मेरे को क्या टेंशन, योर बॉय वॉज रेडी विद हिज प्लान बी. आई स्टार्ट अप्लाइंग थ्रू द ECA quota for music in different colleges, and as luck would have it, I ended up getting admission in SGTB Khalsa College North Campus. Well, that's another story to tell. There were about 300 musicians competing against each other for only one seat that was in that college. After 3 rigorous rounds of trials, me being the best musician, I got that seat, and that's one single achievement I'm gonna brag about every single day for the rest of my life. अब जब कॉलेज ज्वाइन करा तो मुझे तुम्हारे बारे में नहीं पता, बट मुझे बहुत क्लैरिटी थी, मुझे मुकेश अंबानी बनना था. तो यू नो कॉलेज में ना मैंने देखा कि सोसाइटी कल्चर बहुत अच्छा था, ड्रामेटिक सोसाइटी, डांस सोसाइटी, फाइन आर्ट सोसाइटी, एंड आई ऑब्जर्व दैट ऑल ऑफ देम यूज्ड टू वेयर हुडीज विद printed logos of their particular society names, and they would love to show it off as a as a symbol of pride. I had an idea. There I was ready with my first business plan. I named it Bucklol. It was a combination of 2 words, Bakwas plus lol. Little did I know कि नाम इतना सेल्फ एक्सप्लेनेटरी निकलेगा उस बिजनेस का एंड में. बट एनीवे, आई वाज इन दिस एक्सट्रीमली कंपेटिटिव बिजनेस ऑफ प्रिंटिंग टी-शर्ट्स, मग्स एंड हुडीज. मैंने क्या किया, मैंने A4 साइज शीट पे ना एक पोस्टर बनाकर हर कॉलेज में जाकर बुलेटिन बोर्ड पे लगा दिया, कॉन्टैक्ट मी फॉर गेटिंग हुडीज प्रिंटेड फॉर योर कॉलेज सोसाइटीज. एंड दैट वन सिंपल पोस्टर वर्क लाइक मैजिक फॉर मी. आई स्टार्टेड गेटिंग कॉल्स, आई स्टार्टेड गेटिंग ऑर्डर्स वन आफ्टर द अदर. और जब तुम 18 साल की उम्र में इतने पैसे कमा रहे होते हो ना, और तुम्हें पता चल जाता है तुम मिलियनर बनने वाले हो, तो तुम्हें शो ऑफ करने का मन करता है. तो मैंने 7,000 रुपये कमाए थे. आई डिसाइडेड टू बाय अ वॉच फॉर माई सेल्फ. मैं घड़ी खरीद के आया, एंड माई फ्रेंड्स वर ऑल जेलस ऑफ मी कि यार दिस 18-year-old kid is making money. Oh my God, look at him. I was on cloud 9, living my life. सब अच्छा चल रहा था until my phone rang. I got a call from a college society. I picked up the phone and the person on the other end said, वैभव आपने हमें हुडी सप्लाई करी थी ना 40. I said हाँ, एक और ऑर्डर है, कितने पीसेस दूँ आपको? नहीं वैभव, ऑर्डर नहीं है, एक्चुअली आपकी सारी हुडीज फट गई है, वी वांट अ रिफंड. Now my supplier was not willing to take any responsibility for the poor quality of hoodies he had supplied, and now I just did not know what to do. But I started thinking, क्या करूं, इस प्रॉब्लम से कैसे निकलूं? And that is when I had an idea. The next morning I woke up, मैं जियो के स्टोर चला गया अपना नंबर बदलने. But when I came back home, I thought एक बार पापा से ही पूछ ही लेता हूँ. That day he gave me my first life lesson. He said, बेटा देख, कस्टमर ना भगवान होता है, यू कांट चीट देम, पैसे वापस कर दे. बट वो पैसे तो की तो मैं घड़ी ले आया था. सो अल्टीमेटली माई डैड हैड टू बेल मी आउट ऑफ द सिचुएशन बाय लेंडिंग मी मनी. दिस वॉज माई फर्स्ट हार्ट ब्रेक इन लाइफ. बट ठीक है, you know, life moves on. When I turned 19, as an active member of the music society of my college, we used to visit a lot of recording studios and jam pads on a daily basis. So, for those of you who don't know what jam pads are, these are band practicing rooms that college music groups can hire on an hourly basis. They provide you with all the instruments, equipment in a soundproof hall. I observed that these pads and studios were conducting their businesses in a traditional manner, because of which they were not able to charge any last-minute cancellation fee from their customers. I had an idea. I was ready with my second business plan. This company was now called bookmysound.com. We were listing these studios on an online portal and taking bookings on behalf of them. I made a team of about 7 to 8 people, all from my college batch. We were very serious about it. I remember having sleepless nights, working day in and day out, 24/7 for an entire year, only to realize by the end of that year that we were trying to solve a problem that never existed in the first place. अरे यार, फिर से दिल टूट गया. Second heartbreak in life. We had to shut down the company. But it taught me a very important lesson for someone like me as an aspiring entrepreneur. What do we do as entrepreneurs? We look for problems, find their solutions, and monetize it. लेकिन अगर problem exist ही नहीं करती, so उसका फालतू में solution निकाल के उसको monetize कैसे करोगे? कोई बात नहीं, it's okay. I made my peace with it. Life moves on. Music was my escape from all the chaos that was going on in my life. You know, as again an active member of my college band, I had to carry my drum kit everywhere. And for competitions and performances, and drum kits are extremely heavy and bulky. It was a very difficult task. मेरे से हो ही नहीं रहा था. Then I got to know of this instrument called a cajon. Let me explain. It looks like a stool. You have to sit on it and then play it. It's a perfect substitute for a full-fledged drum kit. It's very light in weight. You can just, उसको easily bag बनाकर उसको कंधे पे टांग सकते हो. It's that portable. I decided to buy it. But when I started visiting music stores, I realized that this instrument was available at an average price point of 20,000 rupees, which was way beyond what I could afford to pay as a college student. क्या करूँ यार, ड्रम किट तो लेके जा नहीं सकता हर जगह. I started thinking यार कहाँ से इंस्ट्रूमेंट लाऊं, and that is when I had an idea. I decided to build one for myself. So after doing some intensive research on how musical instruments are built, what kind of wood is used, how internal mechanisms are installed, I hired a couple of carpenters. Together, we sat down for over a couple of weeks, and after discarding 4 instruments that we made initially, the 5th cajon kind of sounded nice. So I decided to paint it in my favorite color, Chatak Lal. अब उसको लेकर जब मैंने पहले कंपटीशन में परफॉर्म करा और मैं स्टेज से उतरा, I had 2 musicians walk up to me and they said, भाई जब तू इसको स्टेज पे लेके जा रहा था ना, हम हंस रहे थे कि यार हम अपने साथ प्रोफेशनल ड्रम किट्स लेके आए हैं और तू क्या डब्बा सा इंस्ट्रूमेंट लेके जा रहा है. बट ब्रो, व्हेन यू स्टार्टेड प्लेइंग इट ना, इट साउंडेड नाइस. हमको भी cajon चाहिए यार, लेकिन मार्केट में इतना महंगा है, कहाँ से ले समझ ही नहीं आ रहा. तू बता ना तूने कहाँ से लिया. I took a pause and that is when it struck. The idea. I said, dude, I make these. Buy from me. The next thing I know, I was flooded with calls from their friends. everyone wanting me to build a cajon for them with a different customization requirement. It was magical. We were getting orders one after the other. We were selling handmade cajons to all of them. लेकिन पता है अभी प्रॉब्लम क्या थी? अभी ना मैं बड़ा रॉ सा बेसिक सा इंस्ट्रूमेंट बना के सेल कर रहा था. मुझे ये समझ आ गई थी कि एक बड़ी बिजनेस अपॉर्चुनिटी है. I acted upon every idea that felt right to be. Whether it was my mom's simple idea of wanting me to learn to play a musical instrument, or whether it was my stupid decision of starting my first 2 companies without any market research. But long story short, I feel most ideas will never work for you, but they will always teach you a lesson. And lessons learned from these failed ideas over a period of years, combined with that one right idea that hits you, will create for you what we call as magic. So to create magic, you need to act upon every idea that forms a part of your tapestry of thoughts. I repeat, to be able to create magic, you need to act upon every single idea that forms a part of your tapestry of thoughts. I'm done sharing my thoughts for the day, but before I get off the stage, I think I need to act upon that one idea someone gave me a couple of days back, which kind of feels right at the moment. तो गोवा इंस्टीट्यूट ऑफ मैनेजमेंट, क्या मैं यहाँ से कोई छोटा मोटा सा ही MBA का कोर्स कर सकता हूँ प्लीज? Thank you for being such a patient audience. That's my time.